We've had a deck tech for this strategy a few different times, and I felt like trying it. So this is not necessarily... I mean, it is built around the new card, Gleeful Demolition, but Gleeful Demolition gives you redundancy to the card Kuldotha Rebirth, which is a card that has been the marquee card in this shell in the past. This has been like the build around card, the big payoff, 1 mana, sacrifice an artifact to create 3 red goblin tokens. Gleeful Demolition is almost strictly better, where Gleeful Demolition can destroy any artifact on your opponent's side of the field, but if the artifact was yours, you get 3 Phyrexian goblins instead. And getting access to 8 of this effect, I think, really lets you like build around it in a really big way. And so the best way to, I think, maximize the power of this card is to play the full 8 Bushwhackers, 4 Reckless Bushwhacker, 4 Goblin Bushwhacker, to, you know, put 3 goblins into play, then give them +1/+0 haste, and you smack it for a ton of damage. Kind of combo off with, you know, Rebirth into Bushwhacker, and then with having 8 of each of these effects lets you do this potentially multiple times a game, very, very consistently. You also have some very, very powerful burn spells to finish your opponent off. We have 4 Goblin Grenade and 4 Shrapnel Blast. With 16... you also did have the Bugbear to make goblins, but you have 16 ways to make goblins to just finish your opponent off with the grenades. I think there's actually going to be a lot of like double grenade kills, which is pretty exciting. Doing a 4-3 split with Shrapnel Blast. Shrapnel Blast being 2 mana, I think makes you really not super happy to draw multiple copies in your opening hand. I think that if you draw Rebirth, you actually are happy to see multiple copies of Goblin Grenade in your hand, which is, I think, why I'm favoring this split. And then to kind of like fill out the rest of the deck, you need a lot of artifacts to sacrifice. If you're playing 4 rebirths or 8 rebirths and 3 Shrapnel Blasts, you need a lot of artifacts that are good to sacrifice. So we have the full 4 Synthesizer and Chromatic Star as like cards that actually replace themselves when you sacrifice them. You have 4 Bauble, and like, what's cool about Bauble and Memnite in the shell, like Memnite is like search for Goblin Bushwhacker. It's a 2/1 haste with the Bushwhackers, but it's also, you know, it's card disadvantage, but it's nice to have access to 0 mana artifacts, so you can go like turn 1, put 3 goblins into play, turn 2 Bushwhacker, attack for 8. But you also have access to Voldaren Epicure, which I think really ties the room together in a big way. Just putting that blood token into play on a 1/1 that pings your opponent is a really, really big deal. You get a lot of utility lands with 4 Din, 4 Sokenzan. We're playing Arid Mesa so that you can sometimes use Bauble as a card filtering spell. If you have an Arid Mesa and a non-fetch land, you can look at your top card and see which land you want to play for a little bit of selection. We're a dumb Jegantha deck. We're an aggro deck. That's the direction I would go with this, and then see how good Elishnorn is. Of course, is the real important thing. Okay, we're gonna keep this. I'm not sure what our turn 1's gonna look like. We have a lot of potential here. My opponent's on a mull 5. Be worth it to play Binding. You can't play Binding in Ice Fang, I think. Shoot 3 more fetches with Breach without DRC. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we only have 1 Breach right now, but I could see playing more. Bubble Self, no land, fetch Epicure. We'll see. We have a whole extra card too. Roll the draw. Yeah. Inscribed tablets. So they're probably E-Tron. So I could obviously Bauble myself here for some selection. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do that or if I'm just supposed to put 3 goblins into play. I think I'll Bauble myself, and you know I'm probably gonna lose to Chalice on 1 anyways. All right, that's probably 1 too many lands here. Red Beretta, 15 months. Drew a Mountain anyways. Isn't he trying to main deck Chalice deck? Would they play one? Why would they play 1 mana artifacts like Tablet? I mean, they already play 1 mana artifacts with Map, and like Tablet just gives them more consistency. They're mono Bluetron though, but I don't think it's really that weird, to be honest. E-Tron players are kind of built different. Ooh, I was just thinking about hitting Gleeful Demolition so I could kill their Map. Demolition targeting your opponent's artifacts has been really cool so far. I was just thinking, I didn't want to say it out loud, but I was just thinking about what if we hit a demolition here. Alright, so let's go and rebirth, sack this. Nice to hit a Bushwhacker, although they might have a counterspell. We hit an Underworld Breach, which I can bauble one time. Doesn't seem terrible. Doesn't seem very good either. But you're trying to make different? You're built different. E-Tron players are like... They're like Titan players, but they're so like Titan players are, you know, they have a pack mentality. If one Titan player in the world says that Titan's unplayable, they all abandon the strategy. E-Tron players are lone wolves that will just play the deck no matter what people say. And they'll even let me go like, yep, bad. Okay, I think I'd rather just Bushwhack here. How about Research Desk over Star for the Unearth? I think Star is like much better than Research Desk. Like when you sack it, you draw a card, you don't with the desk, and then the Unearth is like really mana intensive. But it's also like I would rather have a random card in general than like an Unearth Desk. So like when you sack Desk and sack Star, Star gives you a card, Desk gives you Unearth Desk. Unearth Desk is like on average worse than a card, like a random card would be. Needle seems okay. Can name card map tablet. Kind of down. Maybe just 2. I have 3 needles for Yawgmoth mostly. A lot of no-landers today. Yeah, I think it's Bluetron you don't bring in Magus, especially on the draw. Yeah, Emrakul is for mill. If you see a random Emrakul, it's for mill. It's not, you know, usually that deep. Okay, let's keep the Rebirth. Got a Needle and Scribe Tablet. Am I gonna play this Bauble now? Yeah, I think so. Gonna Rebirth away that blood token, I think. Scott, 39 months, let's go. Mill is like popular and good, and this deck is kind of soft Natasha's, so we're playing Emrakul. You have a Needle and Scribe Tablet, kid? Yeah, but Emrakul, like, obviously beyond just being like really good against Mill, like it lets you tank Atashas and not have to kill them a lot of the time. Damn you, Mono Bluetron! Ah, dang it. How? I recently saw a CP video repetition that made twin. I'm in favor of a twin unban. I'm in favor of a twin unban. I would vote for it. I'm not like super passionate about it. It's also like I'm so biased because if twin ever gets unbanned, I'll be the richest streamer on Twitch. People will have to watch me. Needle overperforming here. When's the next announcement? There's no scheduled announcements anymore. There haven't been scheduled announcements for a really long time, and it does seem like the player base as a whole is like still really confused about that. All right, Mono Bluetron. I don't know how you did it, but you win this round. Let's go to game 3 on the play. All right, Needle was overperforming. Let's bring in a third one. Well, actually on the play, I guess we can not, so it could be more aggressive, huh? You would tell us if I knew. I mean, if I knew, I'd be under a NDA. But listen, I haven't heard anything from like I haven't gotten a preview card. I did get a Christmas card. I did seem like I was getting some love from Wizards, like last year, like up until like summer, and I don't know if I like insulted somebody's pet deck or something. I haven't heard anything from them in like 8 months. Sure. What matchup would Magus be for this one? Titan and Green Tron. This is Mono Blue Tron. You know what I mean? We're not out here. We're, like, I know they had Natty Tron here into like Kolos Payoffs, but their deck's full of like dumb blue spells that don't do anything. You know what I mean? All right. I don't know if I'm. I think I'm supposed to just make more goblins here than. Kill the tablet, just like with the goblin double bushwhacker in my hand. Just so much damage. I guess still could use this as a shatter potentially. They bricked! Look, like exactly, like this is what you're bringing in Magus in against. Like actual bricks. That's so gross. I'm so sorry, opponent. You ever just make 3 goblins a turn every single turn? Wait, is it better to Bauble here? Yeah, no, it's just better to draw a card, isn't it? Because, like, I need a land for lethal. It's like, let's draw for that. Like, 3 more goblins don't really accomplish that much. Not Goblin Grenade. Goblin Grenade would have been nice. Has Tablet been considered? I think Tablet is, like, much worse than, like, any of the other ones, unfortunately. Alright, that's pretty good. That's pretty good too. You streamed 12 hours yesterday? Why? Stop with the natty. I guess, okay, they bricked on Inscribed Tablet. They can have Natty Tron. They bricked on Inscribed Tablet. I'll allow it. So we need to draw land for Shrapnel Blast and win the game here. Just that easy. Oh, dude, Castle would have been so funny there. 5 lands. Yeah, so with these kind of hands, I don't know, am I supposed to, like, play Synthesizer on turn 1? I think no. I think with this hand specifically, I'll go turn 2 Synthesizer, and then turn 3 I can get Demolition, my Synthesizer plus Bushwhacker all in one go. Making a fighting game video? That's awesome. Good luck, good luck. You can post in the chat if you want when it's out. Ah, we're dead. Would Rakdos Scam Sack variant with Pseudo Infinite Hellraiser Outlet Undying Effect have any potential? You're too deep. You're too deep. Pseudo Infinite Hellraiser Outlet Undying Effect. That sounds sick, actually. But I think you're maybe a little too deep. Sounds sick though. Our fetches just shoot a scribe ball. But yeah, we also have 1 breach in the deck right now. We may be going up on breaches though. Right, not a bad draw. 0 draw? 0 draw? Nah, so unlucky. Ragavan sucks! Ragavan is so bad. Garbage. Dude, imagine a 0-mana artifact here into Demolition into Bushwhacker. Whoa! Let's go. I'm just gonna get fucking hit by Ragavan. I don't even care. I bet they probably just freaking block with this Ragavan. Yeah, deck's pretty sick. Hopefully they feel like they have to like play another blocker and I can resolve my Bushwhacker. That's a really good flip off the monkey though. Ragavan, wait, Ragavan doesn't suck? Dang. Yeah, Castle will be really nice. Get around counter spells. Spectre's Haunting. A Spectre. of a Spectre of Bombardment. I think Bombardment seems like pretty win more. Like I think you're way more interested in pumping your tokens than sacrificing them, and you already have like 8 plus the castles to pump the tokens. I guess I should have bushwhacked first. I don't know. I think there's a chance they counter this too. Let's have the artifact in play for Shrapnel Blast. Is 11 a.m. too late to have breakfast? There's like there are no rules in life when it comes to food, as it turns out, or besides like you should try to eat healthy to some extent. But it's like people can just eat whenever they want to. There's actually no invisible god of breakfast and god of lunch and god of dinner that you'll smite by eating at weird times. Ragvan is so bad. A deck perfect to resubmit. Can bring in a needle for explosives. Deck perfect resubmit. We have a Gleeful Demolition. Fetches, shocks, and tribal flames. That is pretty deep. It's very deep. On turn 4, you can have a 5 damage tribal flames, and have it dealt yourself 12 damage. That crushes blue-red and amulet. I don't know what you can say either of those things. We did beat amulet earlier, but I did have an opponent who like just laughed a game that they were maybe even ahead in. Why Star? With the Shrapnel Blast and the Rebirths and the Demolitions, it's really good to have a card that replaces itself when you sacrifice it. Although I'm becoming like a bit more open to play more fetches, playing like this could maybe just be like 3 breaches, no fetches, or sorry, 3 breaches, no Shrapnel Blast. Because you even have like Goblin Grenade. We could go like Breach, Grenade. If you have 4 mana. Maybe you'd play. I don't know. 3 breaches is kind of a lot. It's not very good with Synthesizer. 2 could be a good number. You could play 1 Shrapnel Blast still. I don't know. 4 Ornithopter for 4-star, 3 Pest for the 3 2-drops. Pest is interesting. I really dislike Ornithopter. I think Star is better than Ornithopter. It's okay. We could maybe just agree to disagree. But I feel pretty confident that Star is better than Ornithopter. Like Ornithopter being a 0 creature is really rough, and I do think that like the one like it's basically like like I almost think Darksteel Relic would be better than Ornithopter. Obviously, like it attacks for 1 with a Bushwhacker or 1 with a Signal Pest, but like at least like with your other Rebirth, you can like target it, it stays in play, and then you can sack it later or Shrapnel Blast it later. I don't know. Not that I really like either. Is Dwarven Mine too slow? Yeah, I think so. I mean, it wouldn't be that bad. Well, I think it's not quite where you want to be. We can, agree to disagree. Boys of Pain have Signal Fest in this list. I prefer them over the stars. Well, the thing about my problem with Signal Pest, Bomat Courier is like you don't want to sacrifice them to your Rebirths and stuff. Like you have to sometimes, but like I don't hate Signal Pest. I really don't hate Signal Pest. You're gonna hold the Rebirth here because of likely counter magic. You want Ornithopter over Memnite. So you go turn 1 Rebirth, turn 2 Reckless Bush. Well, I already have 8 0-drops. So you're saying you have to have 12 0-drops? Like I understand 0-drop plus Rebirth. I have 8 already. Like I don't think that 12 is just like that important. Minor misstep. Let's go. Ugh. Getting actually wrecked by it here. That's what this card's good against. That's so bad for me. But I agree. I think there's a lot of ways you can build the deck, and we're gonna mess around with a few different shells. I do think, I don't know, to some extent, like I know that people have been playing this archetype for a really long time, but I think that 8-0 drops is a good number. I'm not that interested in Ornithopter. Like, I kind of feel like a lot of these lists have played, like, Ornithopter over Bauble for a while, but I think Bauble is much better. Could be wrong about that. You can see. Bit flooded, I guess I can blood token away something. I do feel like my opponent has counterspell potentially. We'll see. Scourge Altars with the tin pack. Thank you for that. You got a gift and stuff from Scourge, make sure to thank them, and I thank you as well, Scourge. Thank you, Scourge. Was it deck tech redeemed? Did I miss it? I don't think I saw. Besides Scourge. Nickel with 11 months, thank you. Okay, thank you, Doc. Yeah, I missed it. These also. Abzan stacks, okay. I really don't think this card's very good. 3 mana braids. So if I Gleeful Demolition, target this. It's not very good for me, huh? Alright, so let's start off Goblin Grenade my opponent here. If they counterspell this, they can't sack the explosives, and I can Gleeful Demolition my synthesizer. Scourge Altars does some amazing for X9 stuff. Yeah, Scourge, if you want to post something in chat, take a look. Why did they attack, actually, with this Shredder? Yeah, I did, that's your Braids, I remember it did something I didn't think it could do. Or, like, I thought that Braids was mandatory, like, if you sack something, like, that I had to sacrifice something of the same type. I thought that was how it worked. It doesn't do that. It does not do that. It is worse. Yeah, let me hold the blood token in case I draw another rebirth, but I can, loot this way too. You can also loot away Jegantha. It's not even like a mandatory sack. I really think that this card is just like not playable, and I think like you could trap your. Oh, dude, heating this with explosives in play is rough. I think like you can get kind of trapped and be like, oh, I'm a smallpox deck, I'm a sack deck, I should be playing this card. This is like in my archetype, but I'm really not a big fan. It also is like really awkward to have this as your only creature, then you have smallpox in play, which it won't be that often. This Liliana is like completely unplayable. You should play the 3rd Grist or the 4th Liliana instead. Although I think I'd be interested in 3 Grist, 4 Liliana, no Braids, Arisen Nightmare, no Liliana, Waker of the Dead. Some tech that I've liked in the smallpox shell in the past is, oh, what's the card? It's the someone in chat can tell you. It's a 2/2 that if it's the only creature in your graveyard, it returns to play. And so I've liked playing like 3 or 4 of those plus Unlicensed Hearse, and like those are my only creatures plus like Lingering Souls and Grist. Oh, so Grist is a creature in the yard. Never mind. Plus Lingering Souls. So not necessarily for this shell, but this is tech for the archetype I've liked in the past, where your Hearses can exile extra copy of your Nether Spirit, yeah. And then Nether Spirit, like, always comes into play to crew your Hearse. And so I think and then, like, being a Smallpox discard deck, you're pretty inherently weak to graveyard cards. Dude, just crushing Murktide. You're pretty, so many important cards that Thoughtseize hits that Inquisition misses, just to rattle off a few. You have, like, Yawgmoth, Karn the Great Creator, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Do I keep this on 5? On 6? I guess I keep this on 6. Sorry, Solitude, Fury, Omnath, which Murktide more important than Omnath, honestly. On that land, no! No, not like this. We can loot one away. Yeah, Primeval Titan is a huge one right now. There's several cards out of mill, like the new Jace and the trap that Thoughtseize hits that this misses. And like Burn Burn and Prowess are more popular than they've been, but they're not so popular that you should be doing this right now. This is like 2014 brain, like that you're playing, like you're not playing 4 Thoughtseize, you're playing some number of Inquisitions over them for life loss. This to a big extent is like 2014 brain, where like Burn is like a tier 1 deck. Burn is one of the most popular decks in the format, and yeah, you just like are really thinking about Burn constantly. But in my opinion, I guess we can keep that. We can go like Epicure or Bushwhacker next turn. In my opinion, this is just like kind of an outdated way of thinking about deck building. Really rough mulligan here. I do actually like the main deck Surgical. So like I think if you're not playing the Hearst tech, the Surgical is like kind of nice. You could even play 2. I like the Vindicates. I like the 3/3 push pending split. I feel like there's something you should be playing over March of Otherworldly Light as like your Saga hate. I don't know why I'm kind of blanking. Goblin Blast Runner, is that the new one? Whenever something goes to the yard, it gets a oil counter. I did consider. I mean, there's like tons of 1-mana creatures you could play in the deck, but I'm choosing to be like a bit more like go wide spell focused, since like when you play Ragavan, you play Signal Pest, you play Goblin Guide, you play Blast Runner, you're like a lot more vulnerable to 1-mana removal spells than you are in this shell. No Citadel? Well, Citadel is good with the new one, but it's not good with Rebirth really, and I just don't want to play colorless lands. But you are right, it is good with the new card. Alright, so if they're probably going to create CBD on 2 and get me going. Night's Whisper. Yeah, 1 or 2 Night's Whisper is nice, of course. Yeah, I'm mostly just trying to give you options, because I like Smallpox decks. I have a lot of fun with them usually. I haven't really worked on them in a long time, but I do want to just give you some options. Give you some thoughts about the archetype more than anything else, and what I like, what I dislike, the usual stuff. Yeah, I think I am feeling like 1 Breach is the right number in this shell. Like you really just don't want to draw 2 copies early, but you're kind of happy to draw that first one. So maybe that is 2 copies is fine. Yeah, my plan today for creativity was to just run it back. So let's keep up with that. Hopefully our draw isn't quite as stumbly this time. The 1-mana 3/2 minute stack something. Yeah, I think there's a few other 1-drops I'd play instead, but there's a lot to like consider. No plus for Magus. No, I don't like Magus against creativity. Their deck typically plays like several red removal spells, Fire, Ice, Lightning Bolt, Prismari Command that all just like totally make you vomit when you've cast a Magus. How does new Nahiri compare to Fable as a value play? So yeah, my current thinking on Nahiri is that like Nahiri is a good value play, but Nahiri is a Planeswalker, and Planeswalker is a card type that's like really not good in Modern in general. Only like the very best of the best Planeswalkers end up seeing play, so like Tyvar, Teferi, Karn the Great Creator, the other Teferi, Jace, not that much play. Nahiri, I think, is really, really good, a really, really good Planeswalker. I think it probably provides like about as much value as a Fable does in a deck that can support it, like a deck that can support Fable. But the problem is, like, Enchantment is just like a better card type than Planeswalker for the most part, and Holy Heat and like the cheap creatures attacking it. I do like Nahiri though, but I think that it's probably just not going to be a huge card. Although I do want to try it in Reanimator also. All right, we got a altar from Scourge Altars. Let me make sure this is not a penis. It is. It's also not loading. Okay, hold on. I have to pause. Who installed this ad blocker on my computer? I don't know. Okay. Oh, this is sick. Phyrexian Soul Ring. This is really sick. Alright, I can read Phyrexian actually. This is mono artifact, tap, add 2 colorless mana. Soul Ring could be your commander. Yeah, very cool. Okay, let's Demolition the Star in turn 2. Thoughts on Blood Moon over Magus because of this matchup? I think that with the prevalence of Beseiju in Titan, I'm more interested in Magus. Magus also attacks for 2 in this deck, and against Titan, that is pretty relevant, you know. Holy Flood, Batman. Okay. Could draw an artifact to set. If we can rebirth again next turn and then start castling, that'll be pretty good. They do bolt a token, which is nice. Yeah, 17 land, by the way. They might Renin 6 me. Okay, bit of reunion. Huh. Okay, so I can 3-mana Bushwhacker, I can Grenade plus Surge. 3-mana Bushwhacker is 4 this turn. Grenade plus Surge is also 4 damage this turn. I think I'm just supposed to 3-mana Bushwhacker, which is sad. Could also hold it. Holding it is maybe correct as well, with the Rebirth in my hand. But it's just like, if I am able to Rebirth next turn with the castles, I think we'll be fine. I might just like want to castle next turn. Oh, my opponent's stumbling, which is great. Drew another land. Yeah, so this line ended up being pretty good for us drawing another land. Yeah, you only get the ETB if you've cast another spell this turn, which is usually not that tough. First castle activation. Four mana, 2 damage. Let's go. But if my opponent continues to stumble, we're obviously, we'll see if Floodbreed screw. Synthesizer, Star. Oh wow, great draw. If we can find a Bushwhacker here, it's just gonna be over. But also with the castle, the Goblin Grenade. Wow, we had a Rebirth off the Synthesizer. Always a very fun thing to do. What if we had another artifact here? Just another castle. Not bad, obviously. Doom, Twitch Prime, thank you. Guess we're gonna Jegantha. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with like me not playing Signal Pass, Ragavan, anything. Like one thing I like about this build is all the 1-mana removal spells just like don't do too much against you. They obviously have text, but you really when you play those cards, like you really open up your targets, and you just, I think with now that you have 8 rebirths, you just get to be like pretty resilient to these effects. All right, well, I mean they did also stumble a lot, but so did we, to be honest. So did we. Like Epicure, Memnite, Demolition, Bushwhacker, Rebirth. These are all just like pretty reasonable against like 1-mana removal. I did cut dins for castles. I thought I updated the Stream Decker. I'll update it now. What about Goblin Guide? Yeah, Goblin Guide is also, like, does make you more... So, like, I don't know what 1-mana creature I would play if I wanted to play one. Goblin Guide is maybe it. It's like Guide, Signal Pass, Ragavan, a couple of other options I think are a little bit worse, but those are probably the top 3. Those are probably the top 3, but you don't need them because now you have 8 rebirths, and in theory I really like just like making Lightning Bolt, Unholy Heat, Fatal Push, Prismatic Ending mediocre cards against the list, Blood Fountain is a 1-drop artifact. I don't hate Blood Fountain. I don't think that's probably worth splashing for. JF 28 months, thank you. Throw Parasite. Now that is a combo with Saga, huh? Play Rebirth with Green for Tarkus Command. Yeah, Command seems good. Your Command could be better than Shrapnel Blast. PDE, 11 months, thank you. A lot of different ways to go. The title says 7 Blast. Well, I had 4 Grenade, 3 Shrapnel Blast earlier. I guess I need to update it to 6 Blast. I'm counting Goblin Grenade as a... Maybe we could just say 4 Grenade. Grenade is maybe a bit more fun. Lars with the 8 months, thank you. Making some Rude Velt Hordemasters. They do trigger... I mean, that's the thing about, like, Hordemaster is... Oh, Hordemaster is the 2-drop one. I don't know. If I'm not playing 1 mana creatures to, like, because of removal spells, like, I really don't want to play 2 mana creatures. Hold on, I forgot where the match going. Emrakul for Mill. Emrakul for Mill. We have double castle, huh? Could keep, anyways. Why no, ramming up? You need as many mountains as possible for castle. Which is pretty apparent from this hand. Let's mulligan. Could have been okay to keep. Keep us back the second castle. Yeah, I think more fetches is fine. We'll think about it a bit more. Don't think it matters a ton, obviously. Do I play the Memnite now? I guess Memnite's now is better if they mana leak my Bushwhacker. Yeah, with the Breach of the Main, I think the more fetches do make sense. The number of breaches is really tough. I think you want 1 or 2 is sort of to be good. No, I don't think so. Like you have to like, you know, draw it, you know what I mean? Be good to draw a Rebirth here. Like you have to draw it and cast it, or like loot it away with Epicure is okay. It's just like a little too dopey. I'm just not interested in like dopey, slightly grindy 2-drops. Okay. What if they ever have a Spell Pierce up here? Definitely attack my opponents so they can't fetch, and then creativity or they die to blast. Bait Spell Pierce with Star. I would definitely, you know, like for them to go for creativity here. Although I think I should just blast them now. Which obviously means I'm not killing them in response to anything. But just like having them at 1 is really tough for them. I guess they could also have just Natty Dwarven Mine, I suppose. Also don't like that I drew another land, but overall don't hate my spot. To play around Mana Leak, I guess. Roth, 8 months ago, thank you. Alright, let's go. We're 3-0. 3-0. Makeshift munitions. The bombardment that can sack artifacts but isn't free. I can't remember the exact text on that card. If you want to type exclamation required makeshift munitions, I can take a look. But it's probably just like, sounds like it's maybe a little too grindy. I'm not sure. Okay, probably up against rhinos here. They're a Cascade deck. They actually Shardless Agent. We've got a good hand, but they've got a Gemstone Caverns, which is always so rough. Yeah, I don't think that's a card I'd really seriously consider. Like, honestly, I think one thing that could be kind of nice for the shell would be, like, another good token maker. I'm not really sure what that would be, but we do have double Goblin Grenade. We're doing okay. Man, we would just be doing so well if they didn't have the Gemstone Caverns. Scribble Somatic, yeah, like a good token maker, not like a just 2 mana 2/1/1s if you sacrifice it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much worse than the rebirths and stuff. So they must be interested in Domain if they're getting Temple Garden here. Maybe 1 mine. Not with the castles, but in general, sure. Morning plane shift. Minus a mountain. It's a tapped mountain until turn 4. You know what I mean? It's a tap land. Okay. I don't think I'm supposed to grenade yet. Devastating summons. As a difficult spell, sacrifice X lands, create 2 X Emrakuls. Yeah. Yeah, they used to play like 1. I don't think you want to play it. But it is, yeah, it's something like that, yeah. Wow, they're attacking. I guess they're probably feeling somewhat cushy at 11 life here. This is worse if I draw Shrapnel Blast, but I'm gonna sack the blood token, I think. I can't beat Violent Outburst. I'm just gonna die, so let's attack. Bait Force of Negation here. Grenade. Goblin Grenade is so great. Foundry Street Denizen. Denizen's not bad, but again, I just don't think you want to play 1-drops that make removal spells better. Because like I really like that, like in this deck, like Fatal Push, Lightning Bolts, Prismatic Ending are just mid against you. I think that's like one of the bigger strengths. Yeah, successfully baiting when you're streaming is successful. Oh, my opponent's hitting me with a huge fan after getting blasted. Cookbook, like, yeah, you want creature tokens. Yeah, Battlecry Goblin again. I get it. Like, you just want something that's like, again, not super weak to 1-mana removal spells. Emrakul's for mill. So I don't know. We can think about it some more. Yeah, if there was something that was like devastating summons, but like not bad. But it's also true. Like 8 rebirths is like probably enough. Probably enough, right? So we can hold the Memnite to Surge Bushwhacker on turn 2 with this hand, probably. We'll see what we draw. Yeah, that definitely makes me want to hold it. Yeah, Hoarding Outburst. Like, I mean, Hoarding Outburst, like, it's not very good, but, like, I'm not that far away from, like, playing 1. I don't think think you can. Seems like we have a title update from Jesse. Need to pay Jesse to make my stream titles for me. It'd probably be like easily worth the money. 8 rebirth, 8 whack, 4 grenade, 2 fast, 2 furious. Aw, come on. Opponent hates fun. Mog War Marshal, yeah. If only the red Force of Rage, if only that works. Man, I really wish I could hit my opponent for like 5 last turn. I mean, math is definitely not for the person playing the Bushwhacker deck. You know what I'm saying? Like, this just can't be that wrong. Red Pact the Titan. It hasn't been suggested. I like your style, kid. I like your style. I think you probably shouldn't play it. I like your Moxie. Fury of the Horde. I love it and hate it at the same time. The sweet spot. Love and hate. When you love and hate a comment at the same time, it's just the perfect comment. Yeah, the problem with Raymond Up Ruins is not a mountain. Warrior's Oath. That one's not legal in Modern. I wish it was, though. We'd be casting some Warrior's Oaths. Assuming I'm thinking of the right card. Okay, Breach has honestly been kind of mid every single time we've drawn it, so maybe we're not going to end up playing it. The first copy is probably okay, but yeah, there's 3 mana Warrior's Oaths, but there's just no 2 mana one. The first copy is probably okay still. I don't know, the numbers of everything are just so weird. It's hard to tell for sure when you've got it right. Thank you, Esther. How's your morning going?
Good.
Good.
Gotta clean. House is a mess.
Your house is a mess, huh? Sub reach for green bombardment. Just try. I don't think I just don't think Goblin Bombardment is good in the stack. You know. I don't really think it makes a lot of sense. So if we draw a land, we can. I guess we don't have two goblins in play to grenade, breach grenade, huh? They have two cards in their hand. Guess we can bait the. I mean, they might just like snap Force of Negation this. Okay. Maybe that was a little bit ambitious. Goblin Grenade is awesome though. Spira, so it must have thank you. Show blast 2x. Yeah, we have 2 right now. I had 3 blasts. We cut the 3rd blast for 1. All right, sick hand. Yeah. So yeah, I do know that good cards are always honorary MH2 cards. Ah, Ragavan. I am aware of that. Yeah. Why can't we win the die roll against Ragavan? That's a prediction. Maybe refresh. I don't know. Not even MH2. You don't have a card from Breach that's last 5 years. No, we have to do. This is a brand new card. Gleeful Demolition. This is a brand new card, or a newish card. Epicure. Epicure's big. I love Epicure. Yeah, we talked about Implement versus Star. So the difference between Implement and Star is that Implement deals 1 damage when you sack it for a mana. Star gives you 1 mana. I think 1 mana is on average better than 1 damage. I'm not sure. When I'm playing Ragavan, unironically, I think Ragavan is suboptimal in the stack. Ragavan is not a particularly good card when you don't have 1 mana removal spells to clear the way. We don't. So I think that you could play Ragavan, you could play Goblin Guide, you could play Signal Pest in the deck as like a fine 1 mana creature. But I really like that this deck is like every single card is like resilient to 1 mana removal. Yeah, Rebirth first here to play around the Demolition first to play around the counterspell. Like you just don't like have any creatures in your deck that are like soft to the 1 mana removal spells. And so I would play Hordeling Outburst probably before Ragavan. I would play, you know, I want another token generator if anything. Something that's better than Skirvo, Schematic, and Hordeling Outburst though, if anything. Yeah, but Ragavan sucks. Ragavan, look at this is also like something lately. I've been playing a lot of Ragavan decks, and Ragavan has been like the worst card you could possibly have on so many board states. And again, Ragavan is good. Ragavan is good, but it's like it's always been a high variance card. It's always been a high variance card, and the bad moments for Ragavan have been feeling like a lot more pronounced for me lately, if that makes sense. Wow, perfects. Actual perfects. Alright, you can hit me with Ragavan. I do not care. Oh, they're just dead. You know what I mean? Fury of the Horde does seem so sick, but if it was only 1 card to pitch, I'd be kind of down. Yes, it is Satoshi, it is. Let's fucking go. Alright, if you're a Guilty Gear fan, you know who Itachi is because he's a god, but I'm not a Guilty Gear fan.
Supposed to start with these operations.
Did you do this? Did you do this? This is Hitachi.
Programs first.
Oh no, it's not Hitachi. Sorry, I thought for a second. Wait, is it? I can't tell. Is this?
Fun.
No, it is. It is, isn't it?
Programs
There's like this little line is like the face filter. I can't tell.
That's major.
I don't know what the original guy looks like.
It's just simple.
He just like looks just like you. Hold on. Okay, we'll if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm doubting myself. You can kind of tell the line. Well, okay, we'll watch it after this this match. This seems like it'll be good. I probably have to keep this on 6. That's not Hitachi, but look, but can't you see? Is it just like the editing being like weird from the Matrix? Because look at this.
Operation program.
There's like a weird like filter line here. It's just weird lighting. Okay, I thought it was like a face filter. It's just neckbeard? Okay, it looked like a face filter to me. The guy also does resemble Hitachi, but it's not. Okay, yeah, put back Mountain. I got really excited though. Let me look at my top card. I know they have discard spells. Yeah, I was like, if there's an artifact on top, I can sack the Bauble. Or if I see Rebirth on top, I'll hold the Bauble. Is the reason we're not playing fetches? We're also breach. We are playing fetches. We're playing 4. We should maybe have more. And 14 months. Thank you. I'm just gonna play Bauble pass. Unlikely to cast anything else. Like if I draw a Rebirth, I can go Rebirth Bushwhacker all in one go. And still trigger the Surge, and then don't want them to counter or discard the Bauble either since it's my only artifact. I take a draw step. Okay, we did draw our Rebirth. So let's play around Spell Pierce. The problem is, of course, they're going to have a pretty good block. I guess I could just not Bushwhacker. No, we came here to Bushwhacker. Kodiak, thank you for the tier 1. Discard Spell Pierce. Cavalcade, 2 win more. What is Cavalcade? Exclamation point card. Something Cavalcade. Alright, 6 down to 11. I have 10 points of burn in our hand, although only 1 that we can actually cast. If a creature you control power 1 or less attacks deals 1 damage. Yeah, I'm not that into it. I don't know that I want another with 4 castle, 8 bushwhackers. I don't know that we need another way to pump our goblins. Like I would rather have like 1 or 2 more token generators than 1 or 2 more ways to use the goblins, if that makes sense. Yeah, and I'm not that interested in Foundry Street Denizen, Ragavan, Goblin Guide, or the 1 mana Signal Pest, because like right now I like that 1 mana removal spells are mediocre against us. Well, so like I would just like honestly like love to play like the 9th one. That would be kind of perfect. You can play 1 Devastating Summons, but I mean that card's pretty bad, right? Okay, might just activate a token or the castle this turn. We'll see. Seems like they have Drown Up. As anyone mentioned Epicure, we have 4 in the deck. Yeah, I don't think going back to the Titan. Epicure's really good. We could already have a pretty good build. You know, we're 4-0 up a game here. Yeah, Epicure is so good in this deck. They have a lot of good draws here. I do feel like they have Drown. Like, I do feel like they have Drown. I can just go for double Goblin Grenade, but then I get hit by Ragavan. I don't see a lot of reason to be impatient here. Like, they definitely have something, because they would have Jegantha in hand, right? If I 5-0, I'm going to make the obligatory Deck is Correct Twitter post. I don't know. I mean, I'll usually only do that if I, like, feel like I like the deck. I haven't posted, like... I don't know, like when I like recently, if I voted like with a bunch of like Prowess or like Fair Breach, and I just like never didn't post any of it. I just kind of post when it feels right. Hey, what does Haze of Rage do? Sorcery Storm, creatures get +1/+0, buyback 2. Could we play Haze of Rage? Probably not, right? Okay, do they ever counter Goblin Bushwhacker here? No, Force of Rage sucks because you don't get the on your turn condition. I'm going in. See ya on the other side, chat. Is Haze of Rage any good though? Probably not. Probably a little bit more. I wonder if it'd be funny if Haze of Rage ends up being better than Breach of this deck, though. Drown it. It's really bad if they can find a 1-mana removal spell right now. That's true. Castle Emberhearth is kind of just like Haze of Rage, you know what I mean?
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring.
Dude, Goblin Grenade is so crazy. Crazy. Alright. 5-0. First trophy with 1. Didn't get any last week. Didn't think this was going to be it necessarily, but deck actually felt pretty good. Gonna play another one. Let's watch a little bit of Hitashi's video. Hold on, they go open to Shieldred, a Flusterstorm, a Hivebind, which people are playing again. It's funny.